Okay, welcome to the ID24 2022 after party.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome back for the very last stream of the day for ID24 2022. And yeah, wow, what a day has been. We had 29 speakers who kindly shared 24 amazing talks with us. I did a bit of digging in the analytics as much as I could, and at peak times we had close to 500 concurrent viewers across both the live stream and the various archived videos up to that point earlier in the day. In total, I guesstimate we had about 6,500 views for all of this year's streams, with audiences tuning in from all around the world, with the usual suspects of obviously US, UK, Australia, but also, strangely enough, Poland and Germany and a few in Italy. So yeah, and India, sorry, I forgot as well. So yeah, quite a nice mix. On the socials, on social media, we had 750 tweets on the ID24 hashtag alone, and then various kind of direct mentions and all sorts of things like that. Now, these are all numbers, but none of this would have been possible without the help and generosity of a lot of people. So I'm going to do my Oscar acceptance speech and just thank them. So first of all, thank you once again to our supporters this year, which were Intopia, Fable, Barrier Break, TPGI, UX for the Win, Equal Entry, Infoaxia, Intuit, the law office of Lainey Feingold, a certain Adrian Rosselli LLC, and Webbable. Now, next up, our esteemed guest hosts, who made sure that all our Q&A sessions ran smoothly and kind of kept us honest. So, in order of appearance, we had Kathleen McMahon, Makoto Ueki, Roberto Scano, Mark Thiele, Bruce Lawson, Kenji Yanagawa, Eric Pronk, Jens Gortreis, Mero Evans, Lee Dale, and Crystal Preston Watson. Now, of course, a big thank you to all our wonderful speakers. Too numerous to list here, so don't worry. I'm not going to start listing them all now. Without whom there would, of course, be no conference to begin with. I mean, their knowledge and expertise and their willingness to share it with the community is what ID24 really, at its core, is all about. And incredibly, and I'd almost forgotten until Leonie reminded me, this was the 10th edition of ID24 at this point, meaning that over the years we had over 240 sessions and speakers. So there's now quite a bit of material in our archived YouTube playlists. If you ever feel bored or want to binge watch a little bit of accessibility, feel free. Of course, a small pat on the back also goes to the ID24 crew itself, all of whom are here in this session now, miraculously. We never managed to be all awake at the same time. But yeah, I know that many of us have sacrificed a lot of sleep over the last 24 hours to get this show on the road and to keep it there. So, thank you, everybody. And lastly, of course, a big thank you all to our audience out there. Thank you for all your comments, tweets, and for tuning into the various sessions. And that's the end of my acceptance speech. So once again, thank you to everybody involved, speakers, etc. So great stuff.
I want to throw in something there because Pat said we've got in the bank 240 presentations that we've done over 10 things, and something you could just watch. It's more like an ID24 and chill weekend plan. So if you have the opportunity, queue them all up, just start them playing.
And you can also see how we've become more efficient with things. Sometimes when I look back at our very first ones, it was literally like, let's just set up a 24-hour conference with, a really bad webcam and, like a really crappy microphone. So Yeah, I think we've now learned with every ID24 we've done, we've learned a little bit more, and I'm sure even this year we already made notes for what could be smoothed out, what could be improved. But yeah, it's good fun.
So do we want to bounce around and let people talk about a little bit of what they saw, their favorites, their experiences, their technical snafus?
Technical snafus? Don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Roselli. Never been known.
No idea. No idea.
Oh, do you want to start us off, Adrian?
Sure. I'm proud to say that the skunk that let loose under my office window right before the first session of the night, the wind worked in my favor. So both the skunk and I apparently got away relatively easily. I discovered that pressing keys on my keyboards made my lights go out. That was new. Yeah, those are my technical snafus. I want to mention, because I'm still talking, 4 talks that sort of jumped out at me. There were great talks, and I missed a few that I plan to go back and watch later. I appreciated John Alsop doing a talk about accessible conferences that was just appropriately meta to have a talk about accessible conferences at an accessibility. Anyway, Linda Keating diving into language was fascinating. Melissa Eggleston discussing trauma, how it relates to design. That was another one that was really interesting. Zariah Cameron's talk originally hooked me because it used performative in the title, and that talk absolutely paid off for me. And I'm really looking forward to going back and catching the talks that I missed as well.
What about you, Ian?
Yeah, lots of talks that I really enjoyed. Mostly the ones I was either hosting or doing the tech on. I want to highlight, I think, Rachel Morgan Trimmer's talk on how to be inclusive to neurodiverse people. I know Rachel going into this was actually quite nervous, and then just killed it. Really, it was an amazing
Smashed
talk.
It.
Yeah, brilliant presentation. So really incredible. There's lots of great information and some actually good practical tips in there as well. I think that was a big standout for me, but I think I enjoyed every single one I saw. Really, I think they all had something interesting and useful about them. I heard there's a guy called Adrian Roselli who did a pretty popular talk as well, so looking forward to going to see that.
Press ganged into it, I think.
One of the things I liked about this was that we had people like Rabad Goma who gave their first talk at a conference, and I know this is something we always have tried to do in our speaker lineups, is include people who are doing this for the first time, and I really enjoyed their talk. There's some great practical advice in there, but to be the opening speaker on a conference like this for your first ever conference talk, that's quite a thing, and she did a wonderful job, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, wow. If I didn't know, I wouldn't have known for first talk ever. That's incredible. I was absolutely blown away by Annabelle and Courtney's Wizard of Oz screen reader testing. I think that's kind of one of the final frontiers to me for accessibility and inclusive design, which is the actual usability of assistive tech. So just was nodding along the entire time. I loved the trauma-informed talk. I also kind of thought it was nicely bookended with Lydia's talk on empathy is broken. Just some really good themes kind of bubbling up in the whole conference there. Big fan of Josh and Maureen. Thought that was a great way to end things. So just really, really stoked to be able to tune into as many as I did.
Yeah, I'll just riff off what you said, Eric, because I think I noted it either in the Q&A or I can't even remember if I was tech running that session or not, but Melissa's talk on trauma-informed website design, I thought that dovetailed really nicely with Kate Every's talk as well about design ethics. And it was really nice to see kind of these themes kind of building on each other, and kind of the synergy that we had going in that particular part of the schedule. That was really nice, reinforcing themes and, you know, complementary to each other. Those talks, that was the best part for me, I think. What about you, Hans?
I also really liked Lydia's talk on empathy. That was probably one of the most impactful ones for me. Mike Herschel's one about forced colors.
Oh yeah,
That's something I've been working with myself a lot. So from a technical point of view, that was really interesting to me. And as was mentioned before, Adrian's talk so was very important, and it's interesting to see kind of such a scathing overview of the situation. I thought it was very useful to have. So thanks, Adrian, for that.
I like being called scathing. I don't know why.
Cool. There were so many good ones to choose from there. I loved Kaz's talk about the UX persona extension. Thought that was a useful tool. You know, with some really practical values. Like Preeti and Shashank's talk on speech recognition. That was one of the ones I was looking forward to right at the beginning, and I thought that was yeah, I found that really interesting. And then yeah, so whatever we said, there's just all the ones that I didn't manage to catch. I really want to go and catch Matt and Rachel's talk about escape rooms. Because I have all these friends. What's it? I have all these friends who go off and do these things, and I love puzzles and things like that. They're just, yeah. And I was like, I want to go and play. So yeah, hearing more about what they've done to figure out making that more inclusive. Yeah.
I did the escape room at CSUN this year, and it was great.
Yeah,
a really cool experience. It was also my first escape room ever, so it's a good way to start.
Mm.
And you managed since you're here, so well done, Hans.
I escaped.
Yeah, I thought Johan's talk as well with the data. You know.
Oh yes.
Just that vast data set. I mean, wow, that was
new resource
that
they unveiled.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, having that amount of data is truly unusual, and yeah, incredibly useful. So,
and yeah, to mention Malcolm Glenn's talk as well. Actually, I think it's a really great and important talk, but also just delivered with no slides. Just I'm very jealous of people who can present like that, and it's
yeah.
It just flowed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
With a watch.
Yeah, captivate an audience for 30 plus minutes with just your voice is no small feat.
No, not at all. I like Claire's talk as well about let's stop making others feel stupid. You know, we all know we've got far too much of that going on in our industry. You know, you can't fail, you can't make a mistake. Yeah, and yeah, we can't stop treating each other like that quickly enough in my book. The more of us that can stand up there and go, actually, let's be a bit nicer to each other, and let's acknowledge when we fail, because it's okay. And yeah, that's the second time I've heard Claire give that talk, and it was just as impactful for me the second time as it was the first time. And
also recognizing, you know, your own knowledge as well. You know, there's the opposite effect is imposter syndrome, and I think you know, Claire touches on that as well. So yeah, that was really nice talk as well.
Right.
I also really liked how many co-presenters were present this year. I think it's kind of a emerging trend, and it's cool to see people bringing a buddy along for their talk. I don't know, it makes it a lot more conversational to me, so I always appreciate it.
Yeah, I think Josh and Maureen certainly really just riffed off each other well. They were really seamless, flowing backwards and forwards, and you're right, it does just give it a different vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
One of my favorite parts of this entire event was how we would tell the speakers that they had to stand there or sit there and stare into the camera awkwardly until we told them they were live, and they couldn't make any noises. And then at the end of their talk, after all the questions and they've gotten all that tension out, hopefully, we then tell them to sit there and not make any noise until we're off the air. And we weren't really that strict about it, but it is a little bit awkward when you're waiting for the live stream to start and you're just hanging out, not talking, maybe chair dancing.
Feels like
Yeah.
a very, very long time.
The
It
first
was
one with the
10
opening
seconds.
session, I really thought everything had just stopped working. I was
Right?
just about to launch a panic message behind the scenes when it all kicked in. Ah.
I'd actually just fallen asleep for a momentarily.
You
Just
can't
a
rule that out at this
micro
end of the
sleep,
night. Yeah.
We assure you it wasn't
Power
a
nap.
prank.
But yeah, as ever, I'm just amazed that the technology kind of was in our favor, barring a
Yeah.
few problems with Dropbox behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, it's all held together with sticky tape and bits of wood, but it does seem to work reasonably well. So yeah.
I think
It
you're
keeps
doing yourself an
working.
injustice there, because the time and effort that you put into orchestrating this and bringing the bits together with your hammer and 9-inch nails,
Absolutely.
it can't go understated.
Yeah.
It really
Agreed.
can't.
And the captions worked well as well, right? No issues.
Yeah, I think so. There's still that tiny bug that I mentioned, but the live captions during the stream all seem to work fine, with their usual, 90% accuracy or whatever it is. But,
Right.
that's
We'll get
that's
those.
not bad. And
Get
we'll
those
get them
cleaned up.
recaptioned. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, 3Play, if you're listening, please sort out the 5-second delay bug.
Yeah, I'll send you an email again. I'll send the same email from last year. that we had.
Becoming an annual tradition.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but it's good. And there was a great vibe in our green room Slack channel behind the scenes as well.
Oh, yeah.
All the speakers just
Absolutely.
supporting each other, and the hosts and co-hosts as well. It's always a genuinely nice experience just hanging out there between the talks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
the
general.
little side chats are always nice.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, hey, it's nice to meet you here, but not in real life. Or did we meet? Or wait, who are you again? So there's a lot of those weird. It's almost like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but you have to choose your accessibility person to try to be n degrees away from. It's a little bit fun making those connections before the talk, partly because it also loosens things up again and reminds you they're just other people. The presenters, the co-hosts, us in particular, we're all just other people who are almost literally flying by the seat of our pants here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And as I was saying in one of the, many times I think over the course of the day, is I have to remind speakers, but sometimes even myself, that it's all just a bit of fun. We're not solving like big. Well, we're hoping to solve big world problems, but at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of people who are passionate about something, and we just want to, talk about it. So, nobody dies if the audio stream breaks up for a second or something.
And the thing is, we've talked, because we've been asked on and off over the years, why don't we pre-record all the talks? And the thing is, it's liveness that makes it worthwhile every step of the way. We wouldn't get this community in a green room full of speakers if they'd all pre-recorded them weeks ago, and we made it polished and flawless. And actually, it's just a lot more fun to do it this way. It really is. Tiring, exhausting, nerve-wracking, but I know how you're all feeling right now, and it's like I'm feeling. It's just
it's a
tired but
bonding
happy.
experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is
it's
there
good.
is there a secret support group that the speakers have put together without us knowing? Like after this, they all just go and hang out there and de-stress?
Probably,
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Because I want to join it now.
No, they're a fantastic bunch of people.
I think it's called Twitter.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
It's called tequila, I'm sure. But,
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's one thing that's really nice, and it's changed over the years. If I think back to the very first ID24, because we put it on in essentially, I think it was 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something utterly ridiculous like that. We essentially just rounded up all our friends.
Yeah.
Said, anybody got to talk? You've got to talk. I saw it last week. And now, we've just got this huge array of speakers. Some we know, some we don't, all over the world, lots of different places, so many different subjects. Our first year, if we were to look back, I suspect was largely going to be sort of ARIA, WCAG, and a few other bits and pieces. But, you look at the lineup of topics today and the speakers, and it's just evolved so much and so much for the better. That's one thing really strikes me every year.
Yeah, and then we rope in our friends and past speakers as guest hosts as well. I mean, I now look back at the first few ID24s where we very optimistically had just basically one person doing the hosting and in charge of doing the stream and Q&A and tweeting.
Such a terrible idea.
And now I just look at it and think, how did we ever think that was feasible? So now
we hated ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot less stressful now. We've got
absolutely
a small team on every session for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And we are getting we're going to have to start calling the ID24 regulars or irregulars maybe. But people who've come back, as speakers a few times, joined us as co-hosts once or twice or more. And it's lovely that we're sort of building up that group of people that we can call on and keep asking to come back and be part of this. And bless them, they all seem cheerfully willing to come back and put themselves through it another time. So
even at the last minute when you say, oh, we had one gap in our schedule all of a sudden, and they're just like, oh, here's one I made earlier, and then they just present. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people offering to step in, at the last minute. That's truly amazing.
We're always appreciative of that, partly because while it might not look, we're like a duck on the outside, it looks great, but in the background underwater, we are freaking out if something changes. So when somebody steps up and says they can kick in with a talk or whatever, the stress reduction for us is amazing. So we have been hugely grateful every time somebody has stepped in to fill a gap or pick up another task.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really have. Still wouldn't change it for anything.
No, that's it. It's the adrenaline, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we live for. Yeah.
Adrenaline and the happy factor. It really is. It's just,
Yeah, it feels great to stop, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ian, are you asleep? You've been awfully quiet for the past 10 minutes.
I am very close to it. But powering through. Not long. As soon as, of course, this finishes.
Oh, no. And there you go.
You just disappeared.
We lost you. Yeah, I hope he falls asleep on the stop stream button.
I was going to say, this is true, actually.
We have to carry on now until the stream stops.
He is in control, isn't he? If he's just face planted on his keyboard, we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah. I can go into YouTube and stop the stream.
That's right.
Should we start soliciting speakers now? Because we're going to be here a while.
ID48 begins now.
At least he froze on a beautiful smile. At least on my screen.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, dear. I tell you what, there are a few times in my life where I'm really glad that I wear makeup from time to time, and how many hours being up for this is one of them. Trying to get rid of the baggy eyes.
Hey, Ian's back.
And he's back.
Yeah. He's talking about me disappearing, and suddenly my internet connection comes out.
We thought you collapsed onto the space bar or something.
Right.
Very, very poor timing.
I mean, if that's the only problem we had over the last 24 hours, this was perfect.
That's it. Yeah.
It was really.
Yeah.
A
Now
couple of
jinx it.
couple of squiffy minutes, but really nothing to speak of really.
Well, the best one was one time when I misread the schedule completely, and I logged in as the technical host, and then there were 2 inclusive design 24s, and Ian is like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, you crossed the streams. Go watch Ghostbusters. You should know this is not a thing."
The doppelganger. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm Spider-Man. No.
Well, if anybody's going to do it, it ought to be one of us, really, didn't it? So,
That's it.
Yeah.
It fits.
Cool.
Good
right.
times. Yeah, I think we're all kind of running on fumes. So
Yep.
let's
Yep.
just officially say this is the end of ID24 2022. So once again, thank you to supporters, co-hosts, crew, speakers, and I think now it's time for all of us to get some sleep or go about your day and do something else.
No,
So
sleep.
yeah,
Yes.
just
Thank you,
sleep.
attendees, as well. I will be asleep shortly.
Yes.
Hey,
Cool. Take care of yourselves.
have a good
Be
one,
well,
everybody.
everyone.
Goodbye, internet.
Thank you very much.
Stare
See you
awkwardly.
next year.
Freeze frame.